Hello everybody, my name is David, but you can call me Rev, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. In the previous episode, we did an instance where we helped the Charlian refugees make it back onto their ships, but we did lose a few casualties in the process, unfortunately. This time, we're going to recap with everybody entirely everything that's just been happening, with the present situation between like the last two episodes and everything, so got a lot to talk about.
No major injuries then. Good. I briefed the recovered soldiers and sent them on their way as quickly as I could, but nevertheless feared they would not make it in time.
That was all that we needed. Let's be real here.
The additional support was invaluable. Your men saved more than a few lives. Though not all, I regret to say.
I take it that I'm addressing Lucia Junius. I'm the Forum's envoy, Alphinaud Leveilleur. And you are owed an explanation for these most dire developments.
Yeah. Garlemald does say that was just horrible timing.
Another trial wrought by the final days. I was beginning to suspect as much. You doubtless feel some consternation having been forced to abandon your original plan. But trust me when I say you were right to send the refugees elsewhere. Beasts have been sighted within the capital. Perhaps it was a stroke of grim fortune that the population was decimated beforehand, as they've yet to appear in any great number, but in time. In any case, Maxima leads the remainder of the contingent in an effort to cull the creatures and evacuate the populace as we speak.
Yeah, I was gonna say the main people now just so
Once
happens.
the airships have taken to the skies, I pray your men can be persuaded to join him.
You'll permit us to retain our weapons?
Homie, we're all in this together now.
I wouldn't have sent you after the Scions were I expecting you to stab them in the back.
And I, for one, would not consider past transgressions more relevant than future contributions. Regardless of the circumstances that saw us at odds before, we need men of courage now, more than ever.
See, Euless, we trust you. See, look, does that smile not say, like, I trust you?
We swore to defend Garlemald, and so we shall.
It seems you have everything under control. You will excuse me then, for mine own duties await.
A moment, Master Alphinaud. You did desire to express your appreciation for services rendered, did you not?
Oh, he said, I ain't leaving without my thank you.
I did. Though if you intend to again ask that Charlian alter its course, you will find my gratitude insufficient.
'Tis nothing so onerous. I wish to hear the details of this grand endeavor of yours.
Do you swear to listen and to learn, and not to embark upon some scheme to impede us?
We don't have any reason to impede you. We need to do.
I swear.
You're an option for like the people. We want everyone to stay, sure, because you know we will find a solution to stop the final days. But please,
Any other I would doubt, but you I trust to keep your word. For not once have you broken it. Very well. I will request that the Forum make you privy to our plans. You may await our summons at the Baldessian Annex, assuming the decision is in your favor. Does that suffice?
I think so.
It does. You have my thanks. Excellent. You can regale us with tales of your most recent sojourn to the First while we wait.
Trust me, it is a tale to be told.
Did you hear something just now?
I love the way his ears perk. Wait, Urianger? Wait, that's not good. So is that Pudding Way?
Where is this star's blasted pudding?
Why is there Laprati here? Okay, so if all y'all are here, where's Urianger?
Dawn may banish even the darkest night,
Okay, I was about to say, like,
and to this bitter clime bring warmth and comfort.
how are you doing, friend?
'Tis heartening to see such an assembly upon my return. I thought often of you whilst I looked down upon our star's brilliance from the moon above.
Yes, but what are you doing here? And dressed like that? Aren't you cold?
Same can be said to you guys.
Verily, I fear for my health should I proceed to expound upon our purpose ere I procure more suitable garments.
Then allow me to summarize. We're here because none of you lot are up there. Nor has anyone deigned to send word about any changes in the plans.
We're trying to get everybody together right now.
Rude is what it is. At least that's what I thought at first, but then folks got to wondering if you weren't in a spot of bother, so we decided to take matters into our own hands. Come down here and help, if our help be needed.
But how'd you know that we'd be here?
So she says, but it's also something of a convenient excuse to visit Etheris. Urianger made it sound absolutely marvelous. More so before the impending doom, but still. And it's not like there will ever be a better time. What with the aforementioned doom?
I don't know if I like this or hate
Marvelous,
this.
they say, yet not an ounce of pudding to be found. I must suffer Urianger's inferior works no more.
I'm so confused.
Hey! Maybe consider the plight of present company before you go blathering on about pudding and doom? Ahem. As I was saying, should you require any assistance with whatever, we are at your disposal. We were born from Heidelin's love for the lives of this star, so naturally we would much prefer to see them continue. Twiddling our thumbs up on the moon is hardly conducive to that, though, is it?
That's fair.
Aye, not when you've all got such precious thoughts and feelings and hopes for the future deserving of more active preservation. Speaking to Urianger made us realize that while we've carried out our duties to the letter, we've failed to fulfill them in spirit. From there, it was just a hop, skip, and a jump towards resolving to do better. So please, show us how. Help us help you.
When I read Hop, Skip, Jump, the first person who I thought of was Annie in League.
Forgive me, but are they...
Yeah, the people you've been communicating with all this time.
Thy distant collaborators, indeed.
Hail, fellow, well met. You'd be a member of the Forum, would It's an honor and a pleasure to meet you at last. I'm Livingway, Hydaelyn's right paw. That last bit is very important, as am I, if I may humbly say so myself.
I bid you welcome to our star, Livingway. On behalf of the Forum, I thank you for traveling such a distance to meet us.
This is already weird.
As you have surmised, preparations for the Exodus have not proceeded as smoothly as we had hoped. I should be happy to personally escort you to our headquarters in Charlian, where you may advise us as you deem fit.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about
'Twas
pudding.
with reluctance that I set aside the great work of readying the moon for habitation. Be assured that I did so only after the Loperids made plain their earnest desire to come hither, and I myself felt a growing certainty that their contributions here would prove invaluable.
Did they come here from the Tower of Babel's entrance?
Tis trite, perhaps, but I followed my heart.
Good to have you back. Can't believe he had to use his terminology and language there.
For a time, at least. Nevertheless, 'twas worth the journey to find present company well. Will thou attend us at the Forum and lend thine own wisdom?
Trust me, you've missed a lot.
If that's all quite settled, can we start moving before Urianger catches his death? Even I'm freezing out here.
You can cast some fire
Oh, I
magic,
dare
you'll
say
be
warm up quickly
fine.
once you're aboard the airship. Sat shoulder to shoulder with our fur-covered friends.
Okay, can someone get Puddingway? Puddingway's just out there like vibing. Looking for pudding. Alright, so we're meeting everybody at the Baldessian Annex then? Oh, thank you for the fast travel. I dare say Master Fortunato was nonplussed as we learned the identity of Hydaelyn's lunar custodians. As you'll soon discover, they have much and more to offer to the Forum. I suggest we return to the Annex. We may yet have time to discuss thy recent adventures ere we are summoned to the rostra. Blah 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 blah. Not that I'm complaining, Urianger, but I wasn't expecting to see you quite so soon. Nor I thee. In the extolling the virtues of Theris, I did inadvertently awaken in the Loperides the desire to avert our beloved star's demise. Carl tells us you have obtained new knowledge that may aid us in our ongoing efforts. I have news to share regarding our study of the Ethereal Sea, but your findings are certain to be of greater interest, and so I would rather hear them first. To what revelations did Hydaelyn's Elpis flower lead? To a lab facility in the past, eons and eons ago, and I met old Emetzel, old Hythlodeus, old what basically became Hydaelyn, and we discovered the cause. Then this dynamis is what drives the final days. If in Akasha are one and the same, it's all but proves within Hana's theory, or an entity, through sheer force of emotion, to channel this vast dormant reservoir into a raging river, its powers might surpass even that of ether. But if our star was so replete with ether, said entity would need to be outside its influence to effectively manipulate the dynamis of the great expanse. Meteon. Or rather, the sorrow and suffering of fallen civilizations that she had been hoarding for millennia. Untold anguish and fear and hatred, drawn from every corner of the universe, all for a single purpose, the destruction of Theris. Then our foe is no longer some unknowable calamity. We have one aim, to defeat Meteon. You make it sound so simple, you're not wrong. Vanquish Meteon and we deliver the world from the final days, but to even attempt it there are two conditions. First, we must determine her location. Before Meteon escaped, an enchantment was placed upon her by Venat, the woman who would later become Hylian. The implications of temporal magics are not entirely understood, and so we cannot assume that our Hylian and the Venat you met in Elpis are one and the same. Nevertheless, due to her intrinsic qualities as an all-powerful being, I'd wager the Hylian possesses the knowledge we seek. Whether she would share that knowledge with us, however, remains to be seen. After all, she intends for us to flee Atheris, not to stay. Do you suppose she has abandoned her pursuit of Medion? But the Venat I know would never give up. That was my impression too, otherwise she wouldn't have used me as a conduit for her will, or provided clues such as the Elpis flower. I believe she has been wanting for mankind to answer Hermes' question. So, what's the second condition? We must find a means to reach Medion. Naturally, our chosen method will depend entirely upon wheresoever she has made her nest. Then, communing with Hylian must by necessity come first. Did you, Master Matoya, have any luck with your investigation into the Ethereal Sea? Sadly not. Though we enlisted the help of Ehrenwald and other Echo-based allies, we couldn't detect so much as a whisper from Hylian, even within the Anti-Tower. Master Matoya is of the opinion that in the years since abandoning it, the Forum has some other method of receiving instructions from Hylian. If so, it would most likely be some sort of apparatus for serving the Ethereal Sea, but closer to home. Sorry to interrupt. We've just received word from the Forum. Your presence is required in the Rostra, where they intend to discuss the Great Exodus. Then Father was able to persuade them. They're finally taking this seriously. Let's hear what they have to say. Okay. Actually, I'm very curious about what exactly they had planned. I wanted to hear all the details. Because let's say a lot of this stuff has been incredibly interesting so far. Let's make our way to the Rostra. Okay, wait. How is your name going to also be Rostra? Oh, they just said, okay, leave our weapons at the door. Me, a man of culture.
There is a matter I wish to raise with you before we enter. We are here to listen and to learn. But if the Forum's plans are more or less what I expect, then I should like to make a proposal that will serve our ends. By your leave, of course.
Well, what's the proposal, man? Ben.
I don't see why not. Your words and wits have gotten us this far. Agreed. I will present our queries so that you may consider the most advantageous way to advance your proposal without distraction.
Thank you, everyone.
If I may have your attention, the ad hoc session will now commence. The purpose of today's assembly is to brief the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, at their request, on the Great Exodus. You may enter. On behalf of the Forum, I commend your heroic actions on the Magna Glacies. We shall not soon forget your service to us, and the people of Radzat-Han. The Satrap, whom we have informed of the refugees' new arrangements, sings your praises as well. As an expression of our gratitude, we will endeavor to answer your questions as fully and openly as we are able.
Okay.
Then let us begin. First, it is the Forum's objective to ferry the life and knowledge of this star to the moon. Am I correct?
You are. It is for this purpose that Charlian has labored these many long years. We have collected biological samples and scientific records from across the star. When the time comes, they will be moved from their places in Labyrinthos and Numenon and conveyed to safety. Once that critical task has been accomplished, we will begin transporting the Charlian citizenry, which has been categorized into groups. The earliest arrivals are to ensure hospitable environs for those who come after. Following our people, we will send those of other nations in turn, beginning with our allies. Radzat-Han was foremost among these, but since the final days have already come to Thavnair, we saw fit to include the refugees with earlier groupings.
An ambitious plan. You have accounted for the safety of all nations and tribes, then?
As many as we can.
And how, pray tell, do you decide who to leave behind?
To journey beyond the sky is an unprecedented and immeasurably difficult endeavor. Introducing sources of inevitable conflict would condemn all to certain death.
Questions as to the validity of that approach aside, are your plans proceeding apace? We're under the impression that your primary means of celestial transportation is incomplete.
If only in that it does not meet our optimal parameters, that is correct. This Ark, as some have taken to calling it, is fully operational and could be launched even today. However, the final days have progressed more quickly than we anticipated. At present, the ship is incapable of attaining speeds sufficient to meet our evacuation targets. Should we put the vessel into service, as it is now, we will be unable to travel to the moon and back quickly enough to complete the necessary number of trips. Precious lives and knowledge will be lost.
Seven hells. Is there anything to be done?
The ether burner, the primary means of propulsion once the craft is in the space between stars, is undergoing testing to determine whether it can be made more efficient. Though cargo is being loaded for the initial phase of the Exodus, we are prepared to continue our experimentation up to the day before launch, should it prove necessary.
What if the Scions were to solve your problem? We shall help devise a means to improve the ether burner's efficiency, on 2 conditions. If we succeed, you must allow us to meet with Hydaelyn.
"'Twas simple enough to deduce. You have a Concord, and so you would never have abandoned the Anti-Tower had you no other means of communication. One far more convenient, I suspect.
The second condition, also to be met upon our success, is that we be permitted to propose another use for your Ark.
we would be at liberty to refuse this proposal.
Of course. If we cannot prove its merit to the 99 here, who are we to stake on it the lives of all peoples of this star?
Delightful as always.
So the arc
Master Alphinaud.
maybe is going to be our way to reach Medion.
Oh, we couldn't have asked for a finer plan. Allow us to solve this complex engineering problem of which we were entirely unaware until moments ago. What could possibly go wrong? The satire writes itself.
If it's a simple material, you really underestimate like where I can find stuff. I've traveled through different universes.
Not benefited from a change in perspective. When we are at wit's end, what we need is not the same dry theories recited ad nauseam, but fresh inspiration. I, for one, have faith in my erstwhile students to provide it, and I find their terms to be perfectly acceptable.
Yeah?
Order! Order! We have no time to waste on debate. I call a vote. All in favor of agreeing to the Scion's terms?
I want to know what their system for counting is, by the way. Because I was about to say, you see all the different votes of hands like going up. But like for me, I'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and
71 in favor, 28 against. The ayes have it. Alphinaud, as the architect of this project, you are the best candidate to show them its current state. And bear in mind that regardless of your personal misgivings, this is the will of the Forum.
Very well.
I call this session to a close. Return to your tasks with urgency. The final days wait for none.
all right. Sorry about not letting the rest of you in on my plan. I was admittedly thinking on my feet for the most part. But since we require both the means of communicating with Hydaelyn and reaching Medion, as for a moment, I saw involving ourselves with the completion of the arc as a way to work towards both objectives simultaneously. However, we must first keep our end of the bargain by solving the problem of the Aether Burner. I'd like to think it's not a challenge beyond our combined expertise, or at least the expertise of our extended circle of associates. It might behoove us to learn how an Aether Burner actually works before we attempt to improve it, though. So, I think this is probably a good spot to end things off here. Next time on Final Fantasy XIV, Endwalker, we are going to work towards assisting Alphinaud in improving the efficiency of their Aether Burner, so that way we have a way of reaching Medion, as well as saving everybody. So, I'll see you guys all in the next one. Leave the description for my socials.